it's Pastor Amy. Welcome back to another small group in our sermon series called On Purpose. This week's sermon, we talked about that you were formed for God's family. Families look different depending on your family of origin, right? But for the purpose of our small group tonight, let's consider one unique family. Think about the sitcom, I believe it was from the 80s, called Golden Girls. Within that sitcom, there was 4 women that lived together and they formed their own family, their own community, right? 2 of them, of course, were actual blood related. They were kin. But all 4 of them together formed a dynamic group of some wild women, right? But these women, they had each other's back. There was conflict, there was drama, like every normal family. But at the end of every episode, there was love. They cultivated an atmosphere of love and acceptance for one another. And I want to encourage you to begin to view your small group in the same way, that they may not be blood relations. In your group right now, probably the only actual kin may be a spouse. For some of you, it might be a sibling. But most of your groups, you're sitting in a living room or on a deck with people that aren't even actually your blood relations. But can I just encourage you that that group of people can learn to grow to be a family, grow to be a beautiful commitment together. So let's talk for a few minutes today about cultivating some things. What are the things that we're going to do in our group to begin to cultivate family? Listen to what Eugene Peterson says, though, before I get started. He says, there can be no maturity in spiritual life, no obedience in following Jesus, no wholeness in the Christian life apart from an immersion in and embracing of community. I am not myself by myself. What a powerful statement, that I am not myself by myself. I was not created to live in isolation. I was created to be a part of God's beautiful family. So there's a few things that we're going to do if we're going to cultivate a healthy family within our small group. What's it going to take? It's going to take honesty. In your small group, you're going to have to be able to be honest with one another and move past the superficial level of relationship. I'm tired of that superficial way. I want deep, meaningful relationships, but it means that I'm going to have to let my guard down. I'm going to have to be honest with people. What it also means is that we're going to have to speak the truth in love. So being honest with one another doesn't mean we blast each other, right? It means that when someone shares something from their heart or responds in a way that is not Christ-like, we can confront that. We do not have to run from those issues, but we need to have a level and cultivate honesty within our groups where we're speaking the truth in love. What else is it going to take? Cultivating community is going to take humility. It means that I am a part of a group. I do not have to be the loudest one in the group, right? I'm humble. I come into that group knowing that I don't have it all together. I don't have all the answers. Scripture tells us to clothe ourselves in humility. Scripture tells us that God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So I'm going to create and cultivate humility, which means I don't always know the answer. I don't have to pretend like I always know the answer. Your group leader does not always know the answer. And being humble, cultivating that spirit of humility within your group, that nobody has it all together, where we're going to love one another where we are. What else are we going to do? Cultivating community is going to take courtesy. What a beautiful thought. Courtesy is one of those things that we just be nice, but courtesy really is esteeming other people above ourselves. It is deference to one another. Rick Warren talks in his book, The Purpose-Driven Church, or The Purpose-Driven Life. He says that within every family and within every small group, there is an EGR person. That EGR means extra grace is required. Don't nudge anybody, but chances are in your group right now, you've got an EGR person and you might be it. That's just a fact. You just might be it. What are we going to do when we have that EGR person? We're going to cultivate courtesy. We're going to learn to see that person the way Jesus does. So when you've got that person that rubs at you, Because come on, we all know what I'm talking about. That person that just gets under your skin. They talk too much. They say weird things. What do we do with those EGR people? And we're going to love them like Jesus does. Scripture tells us, I can't remember where the reference is, but Paul says, bear with the scruples of those who are weaker than you. Bear with the differences, the quirks, the idiosyncrasies. Bear with those things about other people that make them sometimes need more grace in our lives. So what else are we going to do? We're going to cultivate community. It's going to take confidentiality. Within your group, if you want a family, you need to know that what you share stays in that group. You probably all have a family member who you know that if you tell them something, every single person within that family is going to find out about it. I know what that's like too. We want to develop an atmosphere of confidentiality in our group, that people are open to be themselves, to share, and that's going to stay in that group. That small group is not a hotbed for gossip. It's a hotbed for love and grace within our groups. The last thing, what are we going to do to cultivate community? What does it take? It takes frequency. It takes frequency and commitment. Think back to if your family is one that does family reunions. I've never been to one, but perhaps your family has a yearly family reunion or every other year family reunion, and they're nice and they're fun, and you get to go and see a cousin you haven't seen in a few years, and you get to see, cousin Sally has a new baby, Bob lost his hair, Barbara lost a bunch of weight. You get to see all these things and catch up. That's wonderful, but I would say that true family, that true fellowship doesn't happen once a year. It doesn't really happen once a month. It happens when we learn to meet together frequently. If you go back to Acts chapter 2, verse 42, this New Testament church, it says they were devoted to the apostles' teaching. They were devoted to the temple, but they were also devoted to meet in one another's homes daily. That's kind of powerful. They were devoted to that. And so I would say that if we're going to cultivate community, it's going to take frequency, it's going to take commitment. But man, when you get to know someone, when you have dinner in their home, when you're with them once a week for 10 weeks, for 8 weeks, whatever your small group lasts, you are going to cultivate a family and a community that can be a really beautiful thing. So listen, those are some great things that you can discuss with your small group. There are some questions that will go along with this small group, and you can find those on your campus's sermon notes on YouVersion. If you just go to your campus's sermon notes, scroll to the very bottom of that page, you'll find some great discussion questions for your group that I believe that will add some richness to your meeting right now. So I love you. I bless you. Have a great small group. Bye-bye.